Hello, beautiful minds, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm Mansi, and today we're going on a truly special journey. We're stepping right up to the very edge of human understanding to explore the frontiers of the unknowable. You know, we spend so much of our lives striving for answers, collecting facts, and trying to solve the puzzle of life. But what happens when we reach the absolute limits of what a human mind can actually comprehend? Let's dive into this together and explore those profound, beautiful questions that simply cannot be answered.
I want you to sit with this idea for a moment. There are some questions that may be permanently beyond human knowledge, not because we lack intelligence, but because of the nature of reality itself. It's so incredibly important to realize that our inability to answer these things, it's never a failure on our part. It is simply a magnificent feature of existence. You don't have to carry the burden of figuring it all out. Some doors are just meant to remain beautifully closed.
So, let's open the first chapter of our journey. The cosmic veil. Here, we're looking at the ultimate mysteries of our physical universe. Have you ever just looked up at the night sky and wondered, why is there a universe at all, rather than just absolute nothingness? Science has given us the breathtaking story of the Big Bang, tracing how the universe expands into the galaxies we see today. But, science explains the how, the why anything exists at all, why there's light and matter instead of just a cold, empty void. That remains a completely untouchable mystery. Think about these three massive cosmic barriers that we may never, ever cross. First, what happened before the Big Bang? Well, if time itself only began at that exact moment, the word before literally loses all meaning. Second, is the universe infinite? If it is, there are regions lying forever beyond our cosmic horizon, and their light will never, ever reach our eyes. And finally, what about a multiverse? If other universes exist but simply can't interact with ours, they remain perfectly hidden. Distance, time, and isolation are literally shielding these truths from us.
On one hand, we have observable physics. That's the comforting, familiar world where we can watch stars be born and track how our world evolves. But then we have the event horizon of a black hole. Current physics tells us that whatever falls inside is swallowed into a dark secret, and that information becomes forever inaccessible to us. It's almost like a place where our universe just decides to keep its secrets entirely to itself.
Okay, let's bring our focus a little closer to home with Part 2, the internal enigma, the mystery of us.
This brings us to what we call the hard problem of consciousness, and it captures one of the most fascinating phenomena in the entire world. Science can study your brain chemistry, the firing of your neurons, all those electrical impulses, but absolutely none of those physical things explain the subjective, deeply emotional feeling of simply being you. Why does a collection of biological cells feel joy, or sorrow, or the physical warmth of the sun on your skin? The gap between the physical brain and the reality of your awareness is just a profound, beautiful mystery.
And speaking of that deeply personal awareness, we eventually arrive at the boundary we must all face. Science and medicine can observe and measure the physical end of biological death, but the subjective experience, whether your consciousness simply ends, continues in some unseen way, or transforms into something entirely new, is utterly unknowable. And I truly believe there's a deep grace in not knowing, allowing space for hope and spiritual wonder.
Now, what about the choices you make every single day? Think about the possibilities for a second. Are our paths strictly determined by unbreakable laws of physics that were set in motion at the dawn of time? Are they just the result of random quantum chance? Or do we actually have genuinely free choices? It's practically impossible to completely untangle these three threads from one another. The exact nature of your free will remains an intimate, deeply personal secret of your existence.
Here's a mind bender for you. Can we ever step outside our own perception to verify reality exactly as it is? Because think about it. Everything you have ever known or experienced has been filtered through your eyes, your ears, your fingertips, and your brain. We are forever enclosed in the theater of our own minds. We can literally never know what the universe looks like without us here to look at it.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. Science is an incredible tool. It tells us how the gears turn. But purpose? Well, purpose is a totally different kind of question. There is literally no scientific experiment capable of answering what the ultimate purpose of the universe is. And you know what? That is completely okay. It just means you are beautifully free to find, create, and nurture your own purpose.
Let's shift gears now to Part 3, the code of reality. We're going to look at mathematics, logic, and simulation. You've probably heard this idea introduced by the philosopher Nick Bostrom. Are we living in a simulation? Could all of this, our lives, the stars, our entire world, just be a highly advanced computational reality? What's so fascinating, and maybe a little frustrating, about this is that any evidence we might find to prove we are in a simulation could itself just be simulated by the system. We're essentially trapped in the logic of our own reality.
And what about the very language of that reality? There's this huge debate. Is mathematics discovered, like it's a universal truth existing independently out there in the cosmos just waiting for us? Or is it invented, a brilliant creative tool made up by human minds just to make sense of the chaos? We may never actually have a definitive answer to whether math is the universe's language or simply our own.
But even within the world of math, there are hard, undeniable boundaries. Kurt Gödel actually mathematically proved that in any sufficiently powerful system of pure logic, there are true statements that can never, ever be proven within that system. Knowledge has a very defined limit, and it's built right into the very fabric of logic itself.
This brings us nicely to our final chapter, Part 4, The Unimaginable Questions. Let's talk about the limits of human intelligence. We often dream of the day science finally finds a complete theory of everything, unifying all the forces of nature into one neat package. But honestly, a theory of everything isn't the end of the story. Every single time we open a door in science, we find a hallway with 10 more doors. Each answer simply reveals a deeper, more profound mystery. The horizon of knowledge is just going to forever recede as we walk toward it.
And we really must be gentle with ourselves about our own limits. Just as a dog simply doesn't have the biological hardware to understand calculus, our human brains have natural limits too. There might be absolute truths in the cosmos that simply exceed our cognitive capacity. Even if future artificial intelligence discovers some of them, we might not even have the ability to comprehend the answers they give us.
Think about an ant just going about its day on a leaf. It is living inside a universe totally governed by quantum mechanics, yet it cannot possibly conceive of it. Similarly, we are living inside reality's deepest truths right now, yet we may be entirely unable to conceive of them. They aren't just hidden, they are completely beyond the very structure of our imagination.
And so, we arrive at the absolute deepest unknown of them all. This singular idea represents the most unsettling, yet incredibly liberating possibility about our universe.
The greatest mysteries are not the questions we can't answer, but the questions we do not know exist. Let the profound weight of those unknown unknowns just wash over you right now. We don't even know what to ask. We are surrounded by an invisible ocean of wonder that we don't even have the words to describe.
And I want to emphasize, this isn't just poetry, it's heavily grounded in hard science. This fundamental unknowability is an intrinsic feature of reality, supported by the very limits we've discovered in mathematics, computation, and physics. The universe has literally built walls around certain truths to keep them safe. So, some aspects of reality are fundamentally unknowable, not just temporarily unknown. And I really want you to let this bring you a deep sense of peace and wonder rather than frustration. We don't have to conquer the universe to belong to it. We don't have to understand the unknowable to live a beautiful, deeply meaningful life. So, I will leave you with this final, beautiful thought. Are there questions that we cannot even imagine asking? Keep your curiosity gentle, keep your mind wide open, and deeply cherish the mysteries that make our existence so completely wondrous. Thank you so much for sharing this explainer journey with me today.